how can I be the wisest person? You would read books like Someone who wants to be wise in life has to be willing to listen and listen. The Gospel tells us how God responds. If God is trying to speak to you and you are not using both ears that He has given you, what happens is He ultimately removes you. In the book of Samuel, that obedience to God is more than any kind of offering you could give. ወመንፈስ ቅዱስ አሐዱ አምላክ አሜን። በስመ አብ ወወልድ ወመንፈስ ቅዱስ አሐዱ አምላክ አሜን። እግዚአብሔር ቤተሰቦች እንደምን አደራችሁ? እንደምን አረፈዳችሁ? አሜን። እግዚአብሔር ስሙ ለዘላለም የተመሰገነ ይሁን። So today we read from Matthew chapter 21 verse 33. The real lesson that we will take away begins in a different book. We will connect it back to the Gospel of Matthew and to the Psalms that we sang today. To begin with, we look into a book called Proverbs. Say Proverbs. Proverbs is a book in the Old Testament that has really wise and really good lessons that people compiled and brought together. Okay, there's many books like Proverbs. If you ever wanted to know, how can I be the wisest person? You would read books like Proverbs. Okay? If you ever wanted to know real wisdom inside the Bible, given directly straight to you on what to do and what to not do, you can read a book like Proverbs. So here's one verse from Proverbs 19:20. And repeat after me. Say, Mikrin, Sema. What is mikr, by the way? Advice can mean counsel. Yes, all those things. So it says, listen to that. It also says, say tekshazanim. Takavel. Now, what does tekshaz mean? It's something you receive because we say takavel. What does it mean? Feedback. There's other verses that talk about our teksas. What could it mean? I'll give you the answer so that we can move on. In this case, it can mean criticism. It can mean being rebuked, so a kind of rebukement. It can mean lesson, but all to do with correction. If you want to correct someone, you can rebuke them, which is to speak harshly, to say change, be different. This can be a kind of counsel or advice also. This is not right. በነገራችን ላይ ወላጆች እነዚህን ቃላት ቤት ብታስተምሯቸው በጣም አሪፍ ነው። አለበለዚያ ሳይገባቸው ነው እንግዲህ የምትቆጧቸው ማለት ነው። So Texas, in this case, you receive and counsel you hear. Why? The Proverbs book says, say በፍጻሜ ጠቢብ ትሆን ዘንድ. So in the book where we find wisdom, it says listen to counsel and receive feedback or criticism so that in the end you can be someone called tabib, better or wiser. So the book itself, the one that tells you how to be wise, is telling you to do what? Listen and receive advice. Someone who wants to be wise in life has to be willing to listen and receive advice. Now we're going to go into why that is important and why we even need it. So has anyone wondered, our eyes have eyelashes. Have you seen this? Yeah? Sometimes they might get in your eye. Does anyone know why that is? To block out sunlight? Something else? What do you think? You guys have never wondered, why would God put eyelashes in front of our eyes? To protect our eyes from dirt. Has anyone also noticed their eyes are inwards or protruding in their skull? Has anyone noticed that? Yes? Why would that be? Because your head is very protective and your eyes are very fragile. It's to provide a kind of shade and protection. Why am I saying this? You start to notice all around your body there's function to why God put things the way He put them. So your eyelashes and your eyebrows are like a shade. Now your ears are on how many sides? 2 sides. If someone couldn't listen from one ear, what would it mean? They might be a little deaf on one side. But God put 2 ears on a person so that he could hear from both sides. This is very important. We are showing, even in the way we are created, God is intending for us to listen, not just from one angle, but from 2 angles, from everywhere. The reason why this is important is people in the Old Testament, prophets, really struggled to find people willing to listen. All of them struggled a lot. In fact, Jeremiah constantly referred to the Jewish people as these people who do not listen. And Isaiah even said, I'm writing these things down, but who will believe me? Who will listen? If you remember when Moses he saw God as a fiery bush on Mount Sinai, and God told him to go get his people, his number 1 complaint, no one will listen to me. And do you remember Jonah, the one that was eaten by the whale? The reason why he didn't want to go to Nineveh to save the people was they would not listen. So he decided to flee. So what we see constantly is when God wants people to listen, unfortunately, they're not doing what this proverb is saying, which is receiving feedback or criticism, and they're not listening. When this happens, our gospel tells us how God responds. If God is trying to speak to you, and you are not using both ears that He has given you, what happens is He ultimately removes you, or He might turn His hand against you. And this is where the Psalms comes in. So we're going to learn the Psalms together. Repeat after me in this one. This isn't Giz, but we're going to break it down. Say Asadaway. Wayne sounds like wine, which comes from grapes. This is important because it's talking about a really nice plant or vine that comes from Egypt. So it says, Seat Zadawe, Afleska, and gives. Okay, so this vine that's coming, that's supposed to be good, is coming from Egypt. What does that sound like? I know that Nati has been telling you about something coming out of Egypt. What came out of Egypt? Something else came out of Egypt. A lot of them came out of Egypt. Yes, who were the people leaving Pharaoh? The Israelites were the ones leaving Pharaoh. The Psalms is referring in this case to the people leaving Pharaoh and Egypt, in this case, as the ones who were good, who listened to God. And then it says, say Sededka. Sededka. Ahzaba. Watakalka. Kiaha. Okay, now it says something different, and it doesn't have to do with Egypt. It talks about God removing or banishing, driving out Ahzab. In this case, Ahzab is someone who does not and who has rejected God. When people reject God, they risk being driven out or God turning against them. The Jews went from Egypt to their promised land by driving out Canaanites, Amalekites, Ishmaelites, Amorites, so many different kinds of people who were against God and who refused to listen. So when someone refuses to listen to the commandments of God and he says, what will happen to me? the blessings that he has taken for granted could be taken away. He could be stripped from them. This is very important, and it's critical if you want to live a good life. So the lesson we take away, to not be like the people who rejected people like Elijah, Jeremiah, Moses, to not be like them. And to be like the people not driven out, you have to listen. And I'll give you an example for what happens present day when you don't listen. And we'll use animals since they're a good example. I'll ask you this. If there was a lion that walked here, and I said to him, "Lion, don't eat me, please don't eat me," would he listen to me? Why would he not listen to me? Why doesn't he listen? This is the lesson that we'll walk away with today, which is, why am I choosing not to listen? And how do I prevent myself from being like this lion? But I want an answer. Why would this lion not listen to me? Because I'm yummy. This is a great answer. The lion wants so badly to what? Eat me. He has no interest in what I have to say. No interest. Why this is important is the reason why people refuse to listen is because they've been consumed so much by what they want. If I put candy in front of a kid and I told him, "Listen to me, I'm going to teach you math," would he be interested in learning math? Even though the math would be good for him, he's interested in the candy. Why, as a Christian, this is important? The church tells you to not want so badly. You can't be like a lion which wants to eat flesh all the time. You can't be like a dog salivating at the things that you want in life. That's not the way you live. You know what we call this behavior? Say magwagwat. Magwagwat. Magwagwat is an uncontrollable eagerness for the things you desire. When you become so eager for something, you stop listening. Everything that's a warning, you don't listen. It's like if someone wanted to go home really badly, and there are red lights, but they're in such a hurry and so eager to go home. What will they do? If they run, what could happen? They could crash. Someone who is so eager, who is unwilling to listen, is not just unwise. They endanger themselves and they endanger other people. This is why we're told in the Book of Wisdom here to listen. Listen and accept criticism. Does that make sense? Okay, the last thing I want to say is, how then should we be? If we aren't wanting so badly, how should we be? And this is where your new favorite word comes in. A Christian's favorite word, do you know what it is? A Christian's favorite word, especially a kid Christian's favorite word, is ishi. Okay? That is your new favorite word. You know, it says in the book of Samuel that obedience to God is more than any kind of offering you could give him. In other words, someone could come to church one day and want to donate $1 million, 1 million candles, 1 million umbrellas, everything that the church needed. But in the end, if they are not obedient to God's commandments, none of it means anything. But the person who is able to give little of what he has because he doesn't have much, but who listens and obeys, that is the kind of Christian you want to be. So when you're told, heat, what's your answer? Nah, what's your answer? Tekamet, what's your answer? What do you want to eat? What's your answer? It is not minadla. In other words, you have to be agreeable. This is what a Christian is. A Christian is agreeable. Ishi. Okay. Ishi. That's it. When you're asked, at some point you will be asked, what do you want? After you say yes so many times, someone will be curious, but what do you want? It's okay. Don't worry about what Ebet Hafarao is. Just tell me, what do you want? That is when you say, I would like this. but you have to have that invitation. There's actually a great story of a man like the saints that we sing called Abuna Philippos. Abuna Philippos actually established a monastery in modern-day Eritrea called Debra Bizan. Okay? This is a really, really heavy monastery in terms of the monks that come out of it. Abuna Philippos' story begins as a young boy who decided to leave his home straight into the wilderness. He went straight into the wilderness basically to survive and to find God. And he died multiple times in attempts to do so. At some point, his obedience to God and to the will of the angels around him, Christ started to come down and say, "You have done so much for me. What do you want? What can I give you?" This is the stage a Christian wants to reach. Okay? You don't do it by not listening, by taking what you want now. You do it by waiting for the invitation, for God, for your parents, for your friends to say, "What do you want?" Okay? To go one step further. The one, when they're asked, "What do you want?" even though they have every right to say, "I want X, I want Y," that Christian would say, "Anything that you want, I want." Okay? That is your standard. ያስተማረን እግዚአብሔር ስሙ ለዘላለም የተመሰገነ
Lord.